everyone, welcome to cost accounting video number 2. In the previous video we discussed meaning of cost, costing, cost accounting and cost accountancy, the difference between these terms and the functions of cost, etc. Now we are moving forward towards next topic, that is methods and techniques of costing. Okay, first we will look at different methods of costing. All of us know that one of the basic important functions of costing is the estimation of cost, right? Whether it is manufacturing industry or service industry, both are interested to know what is the cost of production or what is the cost of services rendered by the company. There may be many types of industries, manufacturing and service industries. And within the service industry itself, there are IT industry, transport industry, hotel industry, electricity industry. So all of these companies are interested, or it is very much necessary to know what is the cost of production or what is the cost of services rendered. And it is not possible to follow one method of costing to all industry. It varies with nature of industry, right? That is, the costing method used is different from industry to industry. So we are going to study the various methods which help the company to calculate cost of production as well as the cost of service rendered. First method is job costing. The first point you have to note that job costing is used in industries where production is not regular activity. It is taken only when they get order. In job costing, production is not huge, but production cost will be huge. For example, aircraft company, ship manufacturing company, etc. Take an example of ship manufacturing company. We will start producing a ship when we get an order from a shipping corporation, right? So here production is undertaken for against customers' orders. Second point is production is not continuous. That is, each job has its own special characteristics, so each job requires special treatment. Here costs are collected and accumulated for each job. That is, accumulate the various expenses, that is for each and every expenses related to material, labor, overhead are separately recorded, and finally calculate the total cost of particular job. So we can say one of the important objective of cost accounting is to ascertaining the cost of an individual job. And next feature is each job is distinct and each is different from each other, and each job is treated as a separate cost unit. So we can say the job costing is used by manufacturing as well as non-manufacturing enterprises which manufacture goods against specific orders. So the applicability of this job costing is in ship manufacturing industry, engineering works, painting work, printing work, machine tools and repair jobs. Job costing is also called job order costing and lot costing. As a conclusion, we can say that under job costing, the production is always against customer's order. Remember that point, it's always against customer's order, and each job is treated as a cost unit. And for each job, a separate cost sheet is prepared and expenditure incurred on a particular job is charged to that job. Okay. Next important method of costing is unit costing. It's also called single costing or output costing. A unit cost is a total expenditure. It's a total expenditure incurred by a company to produce, to store and sell one unit of a particular product or service. That is, unit cost represent the total expense involved in creating one unit of a product or service. Unit costing is followed by the concern which produces a single product on large scale. The products are having uniform homogeneous character. Under this method, the total cost incurred is divided by total production to determine the cost per unit. That is, here the cost is collected element wise, that is material, labor, overhead. Element wise cost collection, and the cost of each element is divided by the total production to determine the cost per unit of each element. And finally, a statement of cost is prepared. So the main purpose of unit costing is the ascertainment of cost per unit. Cost per unit is equal to total cost divided by number of units produced. The features of unit costing, we can say that first one, it's used to ascertain the cost of producing a unit of output. Second one, it is used in industries where standardized and identical products are placed in large quantity from a common process. And third one, it aims at ascertaining the cost per unit, that is cost of a single product. And fourth one, it is used in industries where production is continuous and its application is mines, quarries, cement, steel, bricks, etc. As a conclusion, in unit costing, costs are analyzed under the various elements of cost. The total cost of each element is divided by the total number of quantity produced. The element wise classification is material, labor and overhead. And this element wise classification of cost is actually coming under the preparation of cost sheet. We will discuss it in another video. Okay. Next method is batch costing. A batch consists of a specific number of products or units or articles. Or we can say a batch represents a group of similar products or a number of small orders processed or manufactured together on a single group. Batch costing applies where similar articles are manufactured in batches either for sale or for use within the undertaking. Batch costing is actually a modified form of job costing. That is, cost is calculated for each batch of production. What was job costing? Job costing refers to costing of jobs that are executed against specific orders, whereas in batch costing, items are manufactured for stock. In batch costing, cost per unit is ascertained by dividing the total cost of a batch by number of items produced in that batch. In order to do that, batch cost sheet is prepared. The preparation of batch cost sheet is similar to that of job cost sheet. As I told you, the preparation of cost sheet we will discuss in another video. Now you have to understand only the concept of job costing and batch costing and other methods. Batch costing is generally applied in the manufacture of medicines, component parts of complex products such as motor cars, scooters, etc. and food products, ready-made garments, biscuits. Here is a list of industries where this batch costing is applicable. That is first one, spare parts manufacturing, biscuit manufacturing, ready-made garments, bakeries, pharmaceutical companies and packed food industries. Next method is contract costing. Contract costing is a specialized system of job costing which applies to long-term contracts. The main features of contract costing are first one, contracts are undertaken to special requirements of the customers. Second one, it takes a larger time to complete. Third one, each contract is different from another. And fourth one, it's a method followed by those concerns which undertake construction works. And the last one, costs are collected, accumulated and ascertained for each contract separately. And contract costing is mainly applied in civil construction and engineering projects, ship projects, road and railway line contracts and construction of bridges, etc. In this type of costing, the persons who undertakes the work to complete is known as contractor, and the persons who gets the work done through contractor is known as contractee. And a separate contract account is maintained for each contract. There is accounting treatment of cost, that is majority of expenditure is of direct nature, that is material, wage, etc. Here I am only summarizing what contract costing is. Is that clear? And one more important point, that is contract costing is also known as terminal costing, because the preparation of contract account is terminated or closed after the completion of contract, so it's also called terminal costing. Next method is process costing. It's also called average costing or continuous costing. It is used in those industries where a product passes through different stages of manufacture before it becomes a finished product. Each stage of manufacture is known as process, and ascertainment of cost at each stage is called process costing. Process cost system is used when identical units are mass produced. Identical means similar, that is exactly alike. In other words, we can say that process costing refers the costing of operations or processes involved in converting materials into finished product. Such conversion is done by step, and each step is called a process. And process costing is used to find out the cost of product in each process. This method is suitable for industries like chemical, sugar, rubber, textiles, oil refinery, soap, paint, and plastics. So the main features of process costing, I repeat, that is where production is undertaken on mass scale and on continuous basis. Second point, raw materials are passed through two or more distinct processes before completion. It is not possible to distinguish the product during the processing stage, as the output of one process becomes the input of another process. The main feature is that the finished product of one process becomes the raw materials of the subsequent process. Then the output of the last process is transferred to finished stock account. At the end of each process, the cost per unit is determined by dividing the total cost by the number of units produced at each stage. That's why process costing is also known as average costing. Since it is used in continuous production, it's also called continuous costing. Next feature is products are standardized and homogeneous. Homogeneous indicates that units of output are relatively indistinguishable from one another. However, during processing stage, the products are not distinguishable. In this costing system, a separate account for each process is opened and the expenditure is charged thereon. Expenditure means the cost of material, labor and overheads are collected for each process and charged accordingly. Next method is operating costing. This method is applied to the enterprise which are engaged in rendering services such as transport undertaking, railways, airways, hospitals, electricity, hotels, gas agencies and the like. I have given the chart over here, and operating costing will be more suitable for these type of service industries, that is for transport service, welfare service, utility suppliers and municipal services. So operating costing is a method of ascertaining cost of providing or operating a service. Next method is operation costing. It's also called detailed process costing. Operation costing is a refined method of process costing. In process costing, each process or stage of production is costed separately. Actually, the manufacture of a product consists of several operations. That is, the manufacturing process is subdivided into number of parts and each is known as an operation. So, in operation costing, costs are collected for each operation instead of each process or stages of manufacture. Applicability of operation costing is in toy manufacturing, leather and engineering works, etc. Next method is multiple costing. It's also called composite costing. Multiple costing is a technique of using two or more costing methods for ascertainment of cost by the same firm. I repeat, using two or more costing methods for ascertainment of cost. In other words, we can say when two or more methods of costing are applied in respect of the same product, it is called multiple costing. For instance, in industries where a large number of components are separately produced and assembled into a final product. Best example is bicycle manufacturing industries. That is, in bicycle manufacturing industries, batch costing is used to ascertain the cost of components. After assembling, unit costing is used to ascertain the cost of a single bicycle. So it's a best example for this multiple costing. Radio, TV, refrigerator, aeroplanes and automobile industries are another industries where this multiple costing can be applied. Or we can say when the output comprises many assembled parts or components. such as television, electronic gadgets. So the cost have to be ascertained for each component as well as the finished products, right? So such costing involve different methods of costing for different components. So this type of costing is known as multiple costing or composite costing. So it is a costing system that is, industries produce a number of components and then assemble them into a final product. That's all for this video. In the coming video we would be discussing techniques of costing. Until then, bye and thank you for watching.